Welcome to How to Draw Cute Faces. In this tutorial, I will be teaching you how to draw faces from imagination in the style that you see me usually use. This is a simple approach to drawing faces. It's very beginner friendly, but it also has a lot of dimension. So if you're new to drawing, this is perfect for you. This is also perfect for anyone who likes the way I draw. I feel like this style is very manageable. With a few weeks of practice, this will become very natural to you. Make sure to go on the website and download the worksheets. The password will be in the text file I sent you. Make sure you print those sheets out because we will be using them throughout the course. Just watching these videos will not teach you how to draw. Actually doing these exercises with me is what will help you along the way. I know it's tempting to just watch tutorials and feel like you're getting somewhere, but really take the time to do the exercises. For this course, I'll be using a mechanical pencil and a pen. I recommend that you use a pencil of some sort so you can erase away mistakes, and then some sort of inking tool, either a pen or a fine liner, to do the inking process. So starting on page 1, we have drawing in 3 dimensions. If you're new to drawing, this is what you really have to focus on, understanding these forms. This will be the foundation that will improve your drawing. So on here I have a sphere, a cube, and a cylinder. There's also a pyramid, but I don't use a pyramid in this tutorial, so I left that out. If you're new to drawing and want to create art that has dimension, I would recommend that you practice these forms regularly. It might seem tedious and boring at first, but it is immensely helpful. My style of drawing is born out of using these forms. I've spent a lot of time practicing these forms over and over again to help me get that dimensionality and 3D feel in my drawing. So if you're new to drawing, I recommend that you take a separate sheet of paper, just a blank one, and just practice these forms and rotate them around and see if you can capture the 3D feel, especially the cube. The cube is the one that's hardest and the most useful. Understanding how to rotate it around and see the underside and the top side, these things will help you a lot. Pause the video here and finish these exercises. So let's start with the head shape. The form of the head is made up of a sphere and a triangular wedge. So you can see on the left side, I have the sphere and the wedge. And make sure, if you were trying to draw cute faces, to keep that triangular wedge small. A small chin or small triangular wedge is what gives you that childlike face. It's very round and doesn't have a lot of jaw. So the steps we'll use to draw the head shape is we first draw a sphere or a circle. Then we place a center line that defines which direction the head is facing. Then we add the triangular wedge, which the corner of the wedge, the bottom corner, will meet at the center line. If you're fairly new to drawing, or if you've never drawn in 3D before, it will take some time to get used to these forms. And to draw the head shape, this will take a lot of practice. So if this is very challenging, make sure to give yourself some time, give yourself some room to practice this before you start adding the features. If you skip this step, then everything else will be harder down the road. Learning to draw is all about learning good habits. I picked up a lot of bad habits early on, and it cost me many months of practice, and I still struggle with some bad habits that I didn't fix early on. So if you get these steps down right from the beginning, you'll save a lot of time. So you can see I'm doing the copy practice. I want you to draw that head that you see in the right. Draw that head using the steps on the left. So draw the sphere first, the center line, then the wedge. Once you've gotten comfortable with drawing the head shape, go to page 2 to the practice sheet. On this practice sheet, what we're going to do is we're going to draw the head rotating around. So the center head will be facing forward, and then we'll have it slowly turning both left and right. You see at the top, I've drawn small heads to indicate which direction I want them to turn in. So we're going to draw 7 heads in each segment. If you like to draw bigger heads, I recommend that you either use your sketchbook or a larger piece of paper. I want you to draw 4 rows of heads. So in this sheet, you can see me, I like drawing fairly small. So I've drawn in these small heads. So as you draw the 7 heads, make sure to use the steps we talked about before. So draw the sphere, draw the center line, and then add the triangular wedge. The way you turn the head is by moving the center line to the side. So you see that center head? The center line will be straight in the middle, but as the head turns, that center line moves further and further away until you have the profile view where the center line is on the edge of the circle or the sphere. Make sure to take time and get these heads right. Erase as much as you need to, do it over and over again until you get the head shapes that you like. We will be using this sheet to add features on. So after each segment of this course, we'll return to this page and add the features. Pause the video here, go through and do all the 4 rows of heads, and then move on till the next segment. So once you've done the heads on the practice sheet, we're now going to move on to the neck. Drawing the neck is fairly simple once you've gotten used to drawing cylinders, because the neck is made up of a cylinder that attaches to the backside of the head, which means that there's space underneath the chin. This becomes relevant as the head turns. When the head is facing forwards, the neck is perfectly symmetrical and you don't see any space underneath the chin. But as you see the profile view, there will be space underneath the chin. So do the exercise on the right, go through the steps of drawing the head so we have the sphere, the center line, and the wedge, and then add the neck. Once you've done the exercise, return back to the practice sheet and add the necks to the heads we drew earlier. So you can see me here going through adding all the necks to all the heads. Pay attention to how you can see space underneath the chin when the head is turned. Feminine characters are usually drawn with thinner necks, so I usually draw thinner necks, but if you want more masculine characters, you can thicken the neck and then you get that strong feeling, that intimidating character. So pause the video again, make sure that you take your time, draw the necks properly. We will be using this sheet over and over again, so do your best on every exercise. Once you've done the necks, we return back to page 3 and we're looking at the segments of the head. So to help us place the features on the head, we divide the head into 3 segments, and we do that by drawing 2 lines that dissect the head. So I'm going to go over where the features are placed within these segments, but we will review each of these as we go through the exercise. I just want to mention them at the top. So the eyebrows will sit on top of the first line and the eyes will be drawn slightly below the brows. The ears fit nicely into segment number 2 and the bottom of the nose aligns with the second line. The lips are in the middle of segment number 3. So I will review this again as we go through. You don't have to memorize this, just mentioning it here. Flip back to the practice sheet and the first thing I want you to do is erase away the bottom of that sphere, that bottom line. So you can see me here erasing it away. We only need the center line and the outside of the head, so that bottom part of the sphere isn't necessary anymore. We won't be needing that guideline. Make sure not to ink these segments. These lines are just guidelines. These will be erased away later. We just use these as guidelines to help us place the features on the face. Once you're done adding the segments to the head, return back to page number 3, and we're going to start with the ears. So for the ear, I like to think of the ear in 4 parts: the hat, hook, curve, and small hat. This is the order in which I draw the ear. So here on the left side, you can see that I've labeled the different parts. You can see the hat is at the top, the hook at the bottom, the curve is on the inside, and the small hat fits right underneath the first hat. I like to give things silly names because it helps me remember each part. So if you want to rename these parts so that you can remember them better, feel free to do so. One thing to take note of is that the ear looks larger when seen from the side versus when seen from the front because the ear lays along the side of the head. So you can see that ear on the left side is from a profile view, while the ear in the middle is from a front view. So do the exercises on the right. Make sure to try to follow the order that I gave you. So draw the hat, the hook, the curve, and the small hat in that order. I find that drawing it in this order, by starting on the outside, it's much easier and quicker to draw the ear. Developing a pattern and a habit of which order you draw things in will help you fix mistakes as you go. That way, if you see a repeated mistake, you can fix it easily by changing the pattern in which you work. So for the placement of the ear goes inside segment number 2. So it fits between line number 1 and 2. It goes right in the middle. It also attaches to the side of the head where the triangle wedge meets the sphere. If you need to take time to practice the ear, feel free to take it on the sheet of paper and practice over and over again until it feels natural. Taking your time is really important, and enjoy the process. This is supposed to be fun. It's drawing. Don't take it too seriously. Don't try to rush this. Once you've taken the time to get comfortable with it, go back to the practice sheet and add ears to the heads. So you can see me here adding the ears in. I'm first starting with pencil, then inking in the ears. You will notice that you only really see both ears when the head is facing forwards. As the head turns, the one ear will disappear out of sight. So pause the video, make sure that you're doing these exercises. We will only learn how to draw heads if you actually take the time to practice drawing them. Once you're done adding the ears, we can move on to page number 4. We're moving right along, we're making good progress. So for the nose, I like to think of the nose as a squished sphere. These bulbous noses are great for adding dimension to the face while keeping it simple. These noses are very beginner friendly, and on top of that, they are very cute. So you can see the sphere, it's squished, it's very thick towards the bottom, and then it has a flat bottom. So we're going to do the exercises on the left. Make sure that you darken in the area underneath so we can see the dimension of the nose. So you can see that it's not a perfect sphere. You can obviously play around with the shape of it because noses can come in all shapes and sizes. But adding a line on the side will help define the nose. I personally don't usually draw nostrils because I draw fairly small. But if you want to draw nostrils, you can think of them as tiny caves on the mountainside. So for the second set of noses, where instead of leaving the bottom side dark, we're going to add in the nostrils. Try to copy that nostril shape as perfectly as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but understanding how to put that in will be very useful to you. Make sure to take the time and get comfortable with drawing noses. If you have a sketchbook, take some time to draw some noses, maybe play around with the shape. Maybe you like sharper noses. See what you like. For the placement of the nose sits on line number 2 between segments number 2 and 3, and the center line dissects the nose. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is that the nose protrudes out from the face. So as the face turns, the nose will move further off the center line. When seen from the front, the center line will go straight through the middle. So you can see that I'm adding the noses to the practice sheet. I'm first going in with pencil and drawing in small spheres, and then I'm going to use ink to draw in that bottom plane that will help define that nose. You can also see me placing that sphere further and further off the center line as the head turns. This is something you'll have to get used to, and it will help you a lot in creating dimension to the face. So pause the video here, take your time, add the noses, play around with shapes if you'd like to, and then we'll move on to the next stage once you've completed all the noses. Once you're done that, return back to page 4 and we're going to do the eyes, the thing that you've been waiting for. Jay, why didn't you start with the eyes? I just felt like leaving the exciting bits towards the end. No, I prefer drawing fairly simple eyes. I think these eyes are very good for beginners and people that are just getting into the practice of drawing. So start with these eyes and you can get more complicated down the road. So for the eyes, I draw the eyes with 3 major parts in mind and then 3 optional parts. The major parts are the curved dip and semicircle, and the optional parts are the eyelashes, eye fold, and the bottom lid. So you can see on the left I've labeled each of these parts. Get comfortable with drawing the most simple eye first. If you learn how to draw the simple eye, all the other parts will be very easy. The less lines we use to begin with, the easier it will be to correct mistakes. So if you try to do the most complex eye right off the bat, it'll be hard to diagnose problems and fix mistakes that you're making. One thing to pay attention to is that in the side view, the dip of the eye or the corner of the eye disappears. So you only see that top curve and the semicircle. Also take note of the fact that the dip of the eye is much steeper than the curve. The curve is very horizontal. So do the exercises on the right, copy these simple eyes, and if you want more practice, make sure to take some time and do some eye drawing in your sketchbook. So for the eyelashes move out and up in a curve and make them thicker towards the base and thinner at the ends. So you can see me here drawing in that shape, try to get that curved nature, that elegant feel. When drawing more traditionally masculine characters, leave out drawing individual eyelashes and just thicken the top curve. That will indicate that there are eyelashes there. So once you've taken the time to practice, taking your time, enjoy drawing some eyes in your sketchbook, we'll move on to the practice sheet. For the placement of the eyes go below the first line and fit inside segment number 2. The corners of the eyes align with the outside of the nose, which I will show you how to do that on the practice sheet. So you can see right here, I'm drawing in these vertical lines moving up from the outside of the nose, and the corner of the eye, or the dip of the eye, begins right there. So pause the video here and go through and draw all the eyes for all the heads. Doing this over and over again will help solidify what you're learning. You can also play around with the length of eyelashes, or maybe you just don't want to draw any eyelashes at all. Play around with this, have fun with it. So once you're done that and you're satisfied with the result, we're going to move on to the last page. We're almost at the end of this tutorial. Woo woo woo! Don't worry, I'll never do that again. Alright, on to page number 5. Moving really quickly, and you're making good progress. Alright, so we're going to move on to the eyebrows. For the eyebrows, I like to think of the shape of the eyebrow as made up of a box and a ramp. So the box is towards the center of the face, and the ramp is the tail end of the eyebrows. The hard part about drawing the eyebrows is getting those hairs in properly. So you can see on the left side that I've shown you the direction in which these hairs grow, and getting this movement in is what will help your eyebrows look really nice. It's obviously up to you how much eyebrow you like to put in. I like to put in a lot of eyebrows. So for the exercise on the right, make sure to draw in a light guideline of the box and the ramp, and then render in the hairs one at a time. So once you're done that exercise, because I know you've done the exercise. I know you're not just watching this without doing the worksheets. I know you, and I know that you're down to do the work. And once you're done that exercise, for the placement of the eyebrows go on top of line number 1. So we're going to add the eyebrows to the practice sheet. So you can see me here drawing in the basic shape of the eyebrows, and then I'm going to go back in with ink and draw on the hairs, render them in. I recommend that you figure out what kind of tools you like to use. For practicing, I would recommend that you use some sort of pencil or something that's erasable, and an inking tool. That way you get in that double practice. This will also help you practice the type of lines that you are satisfied with. Honestly, putting in eyebrows is one of my favorite parts of drawing the head. So take your time, enjoy this. This is it's supposed to be fun. I hope you're having fun, because I'm having fun. Like this is real fun. Like I watched the video of me drawing and I was like, oh, that boy be having fun. Once you've done that, once you've done the eyebrows for all the faces, pause here if you need to. Take your time, not rushing you, If it takes you many weeks to go through these exercises, take your time. There is no rush. There is no trophy for finishing this quickly. It's all about enjoying the process and actually learning and digesting this information. But once you've done that, let's go back to page number 5. And we're at page number 5. For the lips are made up of 4 major parts: the bridge, 2 ramps, and an undercurve. And I like to think of the middle part of the lips as a bridge, because I imagine that it's a rope bridge that's hanging. So there's like a hanging curve. So you can see I've labeled the parts on the left side. One of the challenges with drawing lips is as the face turns, the ramp on the far side will appear shorter. So getting that dimension of the lips as they turn. So do the exercises on the right. Try to copy that curve as close as you can. Capture that dimension. One more thing to take note of is that the top lip is commonly drawn darker because it is turned away from the sun and bounces off less light than the bottom lip, which is facing towards the sun. And you can see I've done that in the 3rd set of lips. Lips can be quite challenging, getting those lines right, getting those curves right can take some time. It will take some practice. So feel free to take some sketchbook time to just draw some lips, see what you like, see what you can come up with. Maybe you like bigger lips, or maybe you just like very thin lips. Figure out what you enjoy drawing, because that's really what will make this all so much better. Once you've gotten comfortable with drawing lips, let's add them to the practice sheet. For the placement of the lips go in the middle of segment number 3. So you can see me here drawing in the lips. Play around with darkening that top lip and see what kind of effects you get. Have fun with this, play around. That way you will enjoy this much more. You will retain much more of the information if you actually enjoy it. Pause the tutorial here, take your time, draw all the lips for all the heads, right? We're doing tons of heads so that once we're done this tutorial, we're so much further ahead. We've moved closer to the type of artist we want to become. And bam, we're done drawing lips. All right, I hope that you've gotten a lot more comfortable. This feels like, okay, I got this. Maybe a few mistakes here and there. That's fine. That's fine. You can see that I've struggled a bit too. It's not easy. Not easy to get consistent results. But we're practicing. We're getting closer. So let's return to page number 5 and go over how to draw hair. Let's talk about adding hair. Drawing hairstyles is a deep topic, so this will only be a basic overview. Check out my longer tutorial on how to draw hair for a more in-depth look. So we're going to use these 4 steps to draw hair. First, we're going to define the region where hair grows. Then we're going to add chunks of hair starting at the base, and then keep adding large forms until the hairstyle is complete. And number 4, we're going to render out the hair by adding lines that follow the flow of the hair. If you're new to drawing, I highly recommend that you use reference. Actually, even if you're experienced, I highly recommend that you use reference for drawing hair. So you can see me here adding in hair to the heads that we drew earlier. And this is the last step. This is the last part of the tutorial. I really hope this was useful to you. This is all the information I have. Take your time and play around with different hairstyles. Try different things. Figure out what kind of hair that you enjoy drawing. You can see that I'm drawing very different hairstyles for every head, trying to show you guys many different approaches to drawing hair. If you want to draw very large hair, I highly recommend that you take some time and do it in your sketchbook. On this practice sheet, there isn't a lot of space between the heads to draw big hairstyles, but you can do that in your sketchbook and play around, have fun with it. So those are all the steps to drawing the head. I hope this was useful to you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If there are more topics you want me to cover, feel free to email me. I will leave my email on the screen right here. Bam! Email me, let me know what other topics you want me to cover. Learning how to draw the face is one of the most difficult skills to learn in drawing. So this will take time. If you're new to drawing, this will take a lot of practice, but it's a very enjoyable process and a very fulfilling thing to learn. If you catch yourself repeating the same mistakes, maybe you're drawing the nose wrong, or maybe the ears are off, make sure to return back to this tutorial and figure out what you're doing wrong. That will speed up your learning process by a lot. I also highly recommend to take notes on yourself. So as you're drawing, point out where you're making mistakes and point out where you've done things right. So if you really like a head that you drew, circle it and be like, do more of this. That way you're training yourself to pay attention to the things that you enjoy. Becoming your own teacher will make this process of learning how to draw much easier. So getting in the habit of giving yourself notes is a great way to improve your learning. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your artistic journey, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.